I am here with Patrick and Danielle, the owners of ReRoute Americas, which is an eco-friendly and sustainable food packaging company based in Naples, Florida. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
No, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about the both of you and how you made your way to Naples, Florida, and then we'll talk a little bit more about ReRoute.
Okay. You want me to start?
Okay.
Start. So originally came down here in 2001 and bought a condo on vacation. And then was recruited to a company up in Boston. And so I moved up there but kept the condo. My parents were alive at the time and they loved it. It was a free vacation home for them. And trust me, they used it. And so I met Danielle up in Boston. She's originally from Boston. We worked at the same company. The romantic story, I asked her out several times. She said no. I stopped asking. She said, why aren't you asking me out anymore? And I'm like, I finally asked her out. She said yes. Decided to get married. And then we moved down here in 2008 full time. We've got two daughters, Brooklyn, who just turned 10, and London, who's 8. So they're 4th and 3rd grade. So they're only 19 months apart, which is great because they're best friends, but they're also at the age where they're ripping each other's hair out right now. So that's the interesting part. But
we also have an English bulldog named Duchess. She's a year and a half.
Yeah, she's our 4th bulldog that we've had. So.
Yeah.
Have you guys? So 2008 was when you moved down full time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the company, what were you doing for that company? What were you involved in?
Well, in 2008, I came down here, and before we moved down here, I started a company that would do mergers and acquisitions in the construction space. So part of the reason moving down here full time is I could do that from anywhere. I just needed to be by an airport if I had to fly. Boston, much like Chicago, where I'm from, pretty cold winters and snow and stuff like that. So that's why we made the move down here. So I had my own business and was working out of a small executive office suite doing merger and acquisitions for about 13 years. And then we started ReRoute. Formed the company in June of 2021, did our first sale in January of 2022. So,
how did the idea for ReRoute come?
Oh my God.
So I'll give you the funniest. I wish our friend Bobby Sullivan was here to tell the story because we had a guy's golf trip out to Pebble Beach. Mm-hmm. And this was kind of post-COVID, but California was still very wary about, doing open stuff. So we're at Pebble Beach and we're having breakfast in the morning, and it was kind of like a serve yourself bar. And I noticed this straw, and it felt like plastic, but it looked different. And I asked the bartender, "What is this?" And she goes, "It's made from agave." I'm like tequila? She goes, "Yeah, it's made from the plant." I go, "Well, who makes it?" She goes, "I don't know." And so the way Bobby tells the story is I chased her down into the storage room and took a picture of the box. I had hired a sales guy named Sean Darlington, who's our VP of sales now. I sent him the picture. I said, "You got to track down this company." And he goes, "Okay." So he tracks him down. I fly back to Naples. I get on a phone call with one of the two owners of that manufactured that straw. And they had just started up and they had no sales force or anything else. And I just said, "I think you got a great product here." And I go, "But we need to meet." I'm kind of old school. I like doing everything face to face. So
I flew to Mexico.
I flew to Mexico overnight. I said, he's like, what hotel are you staying in? I'm like, I'm not. I'm flying overnight and I'll meet you for breakfast. He's like, "Okay, dude, you're crazy." Like, that's just the way I am, right? So we sat down, we had breakfast, and I bought a full truck of product from them, sight unseen.
Wow. And
no one had done that for them. So we really struck an alliance with them.
What year was that?
That was, I flew there in November of 2021.
21.
Yeah.
So we bought the truck. It arrived in December, and then we had physical product now to go out and sell. And that's when we did our first sale in January of 2022.
Wow. And what would you say makes you guys different from other companies, or why? Because do you feel it's still a little bit of a learning curve? I know that.
Oh, definitely.
Do you think that's the case? Or I know people are more used to eco-friendly straws and packaging and things of that sort, but do you still find it to be a barrier to entry to get into certain places? Like, why do we need this?
Oh, yes.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sustainability, I think, is a great word to throw around, and people, I don't think are very familiar what actually sustainable means.
Yeah.
And Danielle encounters it all the time doing sales.
Yeah, because even places that use plastic straws, they're obviously cheaper than plastic silverware, so they don't care. As long as it's cheaper, they're like, no, we're not.
And you can understand like the small
Yeah.
mom and pop and the small one-off restaurants. I mean, they're very budget conscious because there's not a lot of money made there.
Yeah.
The corporate initiatives are where we really have success because everything we do is sustainable. But we also find that part of our job, besides selling and distributing the product, is educating them about the right product to use, because there's this big fad going around of using PLA cups. They look and feel just like your regular plastic drinking cup, but they're made, they're corn based, right? So they start to melt at 105 degrees, and the only way you can get rid of them is by an industrial compost. So it looks like you're doing well, and it's a great product because you can tell everybody this is compostable, but you have to collect that separately. You have to then haul it to an industrial composting facility, and the closest one in Florida is in North Carolina.
Wow.
So it's not being done.
Right.
But you give the appearance, and so that's what they call greenwashing, right? So what we try to do is educate, saying, like in California, there's 6 industrial composting facilities, so PLA is a great option out there. Here in Florida, we try to even use PET, which is a recyclable plastic and can be recycled. It's just, educating is. This is a new thing, but I don't think it's going away. I mean, the statistics show you that more and more consumers are choosing sustainable options. 43% are willing to pay more for a sustainable product, knowing that they believe that they're helping the planet.
Right. So, is that how if you're pitching a corporate company or even a small to medium-sized company, what would you say is the main reason why to make that switch? Is it because the end consumer is getting more familiar with sustainable and eco-friendly, and you want to cater as a company, you should cater to the consumer, and they should choose you and get off of plastic, even though it's maybe a little pricier? Would you say what would be the main reason why to make that change?
Well, I think from our standpoint, our price. Yeah. So because we partner directly with the manufacturer, we take it directly into our warehouse and then we distribute it. So price wise, we're less than everybody else. So that's your first standpoint, but it's also an eco-friendly product. So now you have the justification that you can bring in a sustainable product because it's less expensive than you're getting it from the big distributors. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that we've really found kind of a segue for is our customer service.
Yes.
So we deliver 24 hours, 7 days a week. And we don't charge for deliveries, even emergency orders. I was explaining to you earlier that, Seed to Table is one of our clients. Mm-hmm. And they can't predict how their volume is going to be on a Friday or Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And they may call us. We've gotten calls at 9:00 on a Friday night saying, Patrick.
It was like July 4th last year.
Yeah.
They called us when we were at dinner.
Yeah.
So we had our girls with us. So
we all go to the
warehouse.
We all go to the warehouse and did a delivery on 4th of July. And,
oh, that's awesome.
And Dan St. Martin, who runs that, he goes, no one's ever going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of what our motto with the company. Like, we never say no.
Right. And you are, where do you see the company 5 years from now, let's say?
I'd like to get your take on that.
Well, I think to go into a little bit further about how we started and everything too, we sold our house, what was it? June of 21?
We put it on the market. We closed, I think, in September, July.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we put everything we sold the house with into the company. So it's like, we can't fail.
Right.
Like, we're all in. And that's something we pitch to clients too. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, wow, okay.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. 5 years from now.
I know it's very early, right? But do you feel so far, because you started in 21, if I'm not mistaken, and we're in 23, a couple years in. How do you feel the traction has been so far? Because it's very early, and like the energy response you're getting so far.
Yeah, the response. I think the response has been incredible. And again, because it's a great story to tell, which is, we're not this big corporate machine, and we're offering you, 85 million different types of straws. We pitch the sustainable component of it. But we're not shy. We're also a for-profit business, so I think you can do both. But in basically a year and a half of producing revenue, certain accomplishments for us. Like we just got announced as the official sustainable straw and cutlery partner of the Tampa Bay Rays. Wow. There's a 45-foot by 25-foot banner of ReRoute in right field.
Nice.
It's a proud papa moment.
That is
and
awesome.
that's a 5-year deal, and they approached us. We didn't pitch them, so that was the really neat part of that.
Yeah.
We had hosted a conference in Tampa for the Tourism Bureau, and the co-president of the Tampa Bay Rays, I did an introduction for him as the keynote speaker. He took my card, and they called us the next day. And he goes, we're absolutely committed to doing the best for St. Pete and the beaches and everything else. And so, they're moving to all sustainable products in that stadium, and we're going to be part of it, which is... So where we are in 5 years, we've already been talking to Jacksonville Jaguars. We're talking to Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. I think
with the Red Sox, I think we're going to start
JetBlue Park in spring training. So you kind of get blinded when you're in the grind, 24 hours a day. But then you step back and go, wow, you got major sports teams and major corporate hotels, the Four Seasons Disney, Marriott Vacation Club, Hilton's, all taking our products. It's like, wow.
Right.
It's great for business, but you also have, we have our 2 kids, and you look at them as this is our 3rd kid, right? This is, we look at it saying, look what we've been able to do.
Right.
In just a short amount of time. So there's a lot of energy with it.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. And is there anything that you'd like to speak about regarding the company, or just where you guys are in the company? Maybe you, Danielle, I don't know if you have any thing that you'd like to touch on. Is this your first business venture that you've been in?
Yeah.
It is?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird, like owning a company now and everything. And I'm also doing sales. So I do sales from basically Cape Coral all the way down to Miami.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of. So it's a lot of accounts and everything.
Is it what you expected, or? Some
days it's very overwhelming because I do have 2 kids and then I still have homework and everything else.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. It's fun. I feel like, I don't know, I wasn't that confident, and I think I'd be nervous to do sales probably a couple of years ago, but it's definitely helped.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I always think business kills egos right away.
Oh,
right?
Definitely.
Like, you do things that sometimes you never thought you would do just to get your business.
Well, it's funny too, because Sean Darlington, our VP of sales, I trained with him, and he's like relentless. Like, he will go in the back door of a restaurant. Like, I went with him, and that's how I got a couple clients. I was on Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale, and I knew like the restaurant was somewhat open, so I went in the back and ended up getting their business just from.
That's awesome.
And,
but to speaking of, if you want to have a successful business, you're right. Your ego goes right out the door, and kind of what So our daughters always talk about they want to be the CEO of ReRoute. I'm like, okay, I'll show you what you need to do. Again, they're 10 and 8 years old, so they'll go on deliveries with me on the weekends, because we try to give our delivery team time off, Saturday and Sunday off. I mean, they'll all volunteer, but I like doing it too, because you get in front of a client, you get to talk, you get to show off your kids. They're like, wow. I'm like, well, we're all fully invested in this thing. But the key thing that I learned in life that I'm trying to teach my kids, and that anybody in the company will tell you, that I won't tell anybody to do a job that I haven't done. Right? I drive a 26-footer. I'll do the deliveries up in Orlando. I have to do whatever I have to do to keep the business going. So if I ask you to do something, it's because I've done it before. And that's where the ego has to go out the door.
And just being a small business, it's kind of like everyone is in all these different directions.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, all hands on deck.
Right. And you both are in the business together, I think that that's an awesome and very different dynamic, right? Because
Oh yeah.
Because
Because
it's
now-
not like you can leave work at work, right?
I know.
Work comes home with you.
You know what? I think
Exactly.
it's like helped. I don't know.
Well, listen, I think the qualities that I mean, our daughters get to see us and how hard we work,
Yeah.
and understand all the sacrifices that we do for them. With hopefully going back to the original question 5 years from now, you think you're in a position that someone wants to buy you, right? And your hard work pays off, but you might be so successful that I don't want to sell this. I do want my kids to run it.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at all the difference we've made in 5 years. How many people are taking our products and using ReRoute? So, work-life balance. There is no such thing when you own it and it's 24/7. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when you're a couple in a business,
Yeah.
the communication has to be way higher than majority of couples out there, because you have to draw lines, right? Now you're a couple, you're business partners, all these different things that mentally.
So the president of our company, Dave Doran, who's also one of my best friends, but also his family were backers with us too. Him and I take no salaries, right? We probably put in the most amount of time.
Mhm.
But his father, who's a very successful investment banker, basically had a policy of never hiring, family. And Dave's like, you broke all my father's codes when you brought Danielle into sales. And, it is. I mean, there's times that she's very tense or frustrated with a client and, she wants to vent. And it's not like you're venting to two people at the same time. You're venting to the CEO of the company, but also your husband. So
right.
That's where that hat's got. I'm like, how do I manage this one? Right.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Exactly.
And same thing. I'll come home frustrated with the sales numbers or this and this. And then she takes that personal sometimes because she's in sales.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, it's
right. It's just like the level of mental strength goes to a whole different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm competitive. You wouldn't think so, but I'm super competitive. Like my sales, I have to be number one this month and everything. So
how big is the team?
We're 18.
Wow.
Yeah. We're 18. We got 6 fleet vehicles. We have 3 warehouses. We have, like I said, close to 300 SKUs that we offer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're constantly adding more.
Yeah,
like clients will be like, "Can you find this?"
Our supply and logistics hate me. Every week I'm adding something like, you're killing us,
like
Patrick.
no more SKUs.
And like that means we're growing, guys.
Yeah.
And you got to try to be positive. I understand their frustration because everyone's got to learn stuff. And it's interesting, like, with Danielle, myself, Dave, Sean, that really, started day one. Like I said, we started with straws, but we brought every product in so we know them all. But, as we hire new salespeople, it gets overwhelming. Like they got to learn 300 SKUs overnight.
Right.
And they get frustrated, and we try to teach them and help them. But, like I said, egos go out the door. Like there's no assistance. You're the cook, bottle washer and cleanup boy. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And that's the main people that you're hiring right now, right? Is sales to drive up those numbers.
Yeah.
And do you have an ideal client that you go after, or maybe you tell like the sales reps like, hey, food industry or
So I'll give you our model. The way that we really figured it out was the agave straw. It looks and feels like plastic, but it tells a great story because it's made from a plant. It'll be off the plant, it'll decompose in 9 days. But what we really found out is when we went to market with it, which is, you have the paper straw, right? The intent behind the paper straw was great, right? Which is to get rid of single-use plastic. Mm-hmm. The straw itself, I've yet to find anyone that likes it.
Right.
They break down, right, easily.
Yeah.
And, but then we found out we're half the price of a paper straw.
So that was a big thing. If you see a place with paper straws, you're like, we're like.
That's our sales test. We tell a person, go in a place that has a paper straw.
So
if you
like
can't sell the agave straw, then you're probably not going to work here because it's a no-brainer. Because even operators tell you, like, hey, listen, we can't use plastic. But for the longest time, all they had was paper.
Yeah.
Now you got a bunch of variant options. We were talking about strawfish. That's a marine recyclable product, right? Mm-hmm. And that's marine biodegradable. It's a great option. Fade, It's another one. That's those blue neon ones that you see out there. That's made with PHA, and that's a marine biodegradable thing.
And they contacted us.
Yeah, so I mean, we carry that too, and you know, I've been talking to Strawfish guys for over a year now, and we're going to be offering their product also. But it's nice when the manufacturers call you,
Right.
and we get the international ones that call us. They want to come in the United States. They want us to take their product on. But
Wow.
yeah, so
That was a big thing with our Colombian manufacturers too. Just the stigma with Colombia and everything.
Right.
You know, American companies wanted to bring them in.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's great, and it sounds like you guys are it's growing pretty quickly.
It is. I mean, you know, to revert back, we were really hitting our stride in 2022.
Yeah.
We had all of Fort Myers Beach, Captiva, all those as clients, and then Ian hit, and you know, that was
Very unexpected.
Yeah.
well, but it was 40% of our business at the time.
Oh wow.
It was 40% of our business,
Wow.
and we had put up all the money. We sold our house and everything, and all of a sudden, boom! You wake up the next day, there's no business.
We were
Wow.
basically gearing up for season.
We had all these orders in, everything, and then all the businesses were gone. And
How did you guys adapt? Like,
you had no choice. I mean, I brought everyone into the warehouse here in Naples because we luckily had power there. And everyone's looking at me and looking at Danielle, and I said, "You've got one day to feel bad for yourselves, but we got to pivot."
right.
I mean, I kept in touch. Like when I found out, I saw pictures of Fort Myers Beach. I was like hysterically crying because I would do deliveries for some of my
Right.
clients. I would do it on Saturdays.
Wow.
And I kept in touch with some of them. Actually,
We actually hired some of the
did.
staff from those kitchens and stuff like that were looking for work. I mean, we didn't have any work for them, but I mean, everyone needed to help each other, right?
Yeah.
That's what a community is about. So we hired some just so they can make their bills and payments and figure out what to do. We partnered with one of our clients, Marriott Vacation Club, so we started posting all their job openings, and a lot of these people started transitioning. But you know, I gave that speech. I'm like, you got one day to feel bad for yourselves, but that's it.
Well,
And-
then another interesting thing is I had a client in Fort Myers Beach, I think a week before, buy a ton of products for season because he has a warehouse and everything. And he literally calls me a couple days after the hurricane and he's like, "Danielle, I can't use these products. Is there any chance you can buy them back?"
Wow.
Yeah.
And we did.
We did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
did.
I wrote a personal check. Didn't even write it from the company.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy, and to his credit, he stays in touch with Danielle. He's reopened, and he goes, "I'm only going to use you guys because no one else would have done that."
He bought a food truck and he has the food truck parked on Fort Myers Beach. And now he has like kind of like a portable
Right.
bar and everything. And he opened another location. But yeah, we've always stayed in touch.
Wow.
So
That's
the way we pivoted is we opened up Orlando. So we moved Sean up to Orlando, and then I would go up there every week, and him and I hit Orlando. And then, we got the Four Seasons Disney, got the Marriott Vacation Club up there, started getting the DoubleTrees, the Hiltons, got a lot of big properties.
Nice.
And I was
then,
focusing on Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I mean, it
more
was-
the East Coast.
Yeah.
So,
again, you got to put your ego aside. It's like, it's not coming back anytime soon, guys. If we
Yeah.
better, and, so it was strenuous. It really was. And then January this year, we opened up Tampa. And Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater have been so accepting of us and our product. They did a great, Spectrum News 9 did a great piece on us after we did a presentation, and we garnered a lot of support and interest from that. But yeah, I mean, who knows where we'd have been if all of us, right? Not even our business, but all of us, if Ian never hit us last year. I mean, unfortunately, I'm also a finance guy, so I do the math about how much we've lost, and it's staggering. And it makes me choke up because, I mean, like I said, I'm turning 50 this year. We got 2 kids. We put everything in this business. Not like as Danielle said, failure's not an option.
Yeah.
You got to figure out.
and this
Dang,
was
that gives me like chills.
Yeah. I mean, you did a complete career change. How old were you?
Well, so I was 47, so yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I
Not
love it.
midlife crisis though. I just literally saw an
No, I love
opportunity.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She thought I was nuts. I mean, she still thinks I'm nuts, but like I said, we started with the agave straw, and look, now we can provide everything for your restaurant or kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? We offer everything,
Yeah.
and it's sustainable.
No, I love all that. But you're mainly in Florida, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the main the state that
Yeah.
you cater to currently.
That's where we'll do
Yes.
physical deliveries, where we have distribution warehouse stuff like that. We do have a lot. We had
shipping out to other.
we ship to California, Las Vegas. I think we do Portland, Oregon. We do Massachusetts. Everywhere we go, and a lot of our friends that travel, it's like, oh, you got to be here. You got to be. I literally had someone on Facebook saying, I go to Block Island, all they have is paper straws, and and I said, fine, why don't you be our rep?
yeah.
Go sell the product. I'll give you a commission, and we'll ship it up.
Everybody always says,
and it's like if we could be everywhere.
But I will say this: what people have found out is the pricing that we have for the agave straw, even if we ground ship it all the way to California, is less expensive than they would buy from a distributor out there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Right.
So all of a sudden that catches wind, and all of a sudden our, because you can buy online or you can call us direct, and we'll do the shipping and everything for you. But it's a cost-effective option, and like I said, it's better for the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I could definitely sit here and ask you guys other things, and especially I feel like Patrick, I could. I want to ask you like so much business questions, but I don't want to get off of ReRoute.
Right.
Before we go into these, is there anything that you guys would like to touch on that we haven't regarding ReRoute?
That was one of that's not even the rapid fire. That was one of the No, I just think it's important. We're a Naples-based company. We would like to see more Naples-based clients use us.
You hear people talk about supporting locals.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a great option. And like I said, we're going to be less expensive than what you're paying now. And we're literally miles from you, and we deliver 24/7. So we've got some great clients here, got some great feedback. We would like a lot more, obviously.
Of course. We'll definitely connect you guys with a lot of people.
That's awesome.
Thank you so
listen,
much.
we appreciate the
Yeah,
opportunity.
we really appreciate it.
All right, so these rapid fire questions, let's start. What digital or software tools do you use daily to make your life easier?
Cell phone, iPad, laptop.
Yeah, cell phone, laptop, Salesforce.
Salesforce?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fishbowl is our inventory system. That's the one that runs my life. That and QuickBooks, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Both are usually depleting.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
If you can only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pirate booty.
What I eat?
Protein shakes or something like that.
Oh yeah, it would probably be a breakfast and blend protein shake from seed to table.
From seed to table.
Yeah.
Do you prefer winter or summer?
Depends on where you're at.
Very true.
For dressing,
let's say Florida.
Okay,
Winter.
Winter
Yeah,
without a
definitely.
doubt.
Dressing, I prefer.
This summer's
for
been
winter.
brutal.
Summer's been so hot.
It's the humidity that gets everybody.
It's awful.
Yeah. What is your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Oh man, I really don't have one.
No, he's like the Grinch.
No, I would say Thanksgiving. Yeah, I would say Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Do you prefer to relax at the beach or pool?
Pool.
Fifth Ave or Mercado?
Lately, we've been going to Fifth Ave because we live closer to that area. But I would say if we were in North Naples,
It'd be Mercado.
Mercado.
Okay.
Both different
Yeah.
offerings, but
it's been nice to switch it up and go to Fifth.
Right. If you can only work 2 hours a week, what would you do in those 2 hours?
Workout.
sell. Sell.
And if you guys don't have, if you don't have one for this one, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, a book you'd recommend to read.
The Art of War.
I'm so bad.
I want to read that.
I'm really bad. I can't remember last time.
I keep seeing a lot of in here.
I was given it the first day of business school. I was given two things, which is read the front page of the Wall Street Journal, because the way the Wall Street Journal is, it's basically a summary of all the important economic and world trends that happened the previous day. Get the London Financial Times, and then read the Book of War. The Art of War.
The Art of War.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sun Tzu, right? Sun Tzu, I think.
Sun Tzu?
Isn't it?
I have no idea. I'm definitely going to read it, though.
I know.
If you can have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
I think it would be your mom. His mom was hilarious. And it was so funny with him and her together.
If we're allowed to say it, she was the biggest ball buster I've ever met in my life.
Yes.
She checked my ego all the time.
She was hilarious.
Wow. And what's your favorite restaurant in Naples?
Oh,
There's some good ones.
there are some great ones here. We're kind of partial to Vincenzo and his concept.
He's been so supportive about.
He's been supportive of us, but he's got great food. So Osteria Tulia, Bar Tulia, French.
Definitely.
Those are. I mean, we're probably there at least once a week.
Yeah, those are great.
Oh yeah. It's hard finding some bad ones though, but
Right. When you think of the word successful, who comes to mind?
My dad.
oh yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I think that's great. He managed not to pull his hair out, having 2 sisters, 2 daughters, and finally got a grandson at 65 years old.
Wow.
And the man's kept it together. I look at him all the time like, I don't know how you do it. Because I got the same thing as you. I got two daughters.
But you go to my dad a lot.
I always say about Paul that he's more like a big brother than a father-in-law. We talk almost every day.
Wow.
He's been great. No, I lean on him for a lot of business advice and what to do.
And he was telling you the company he used to be at.
Yeah, he was the COO at WB Mason. So WB Mason is like an office paper supply. So he was one of the top execs. So when we talked about ReRoute, he's honestly asking me about the company every day. Like, you got to keep adding SKUs. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. He goes, I love seeing what you guys are doing. He's pumped. He's our biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's awesome to have somebody like that in your corner.
Oh, it's very important.
Definitely.
If you can choose any other career path, what would it be?
Maybe personal trainer. I love to work out.
I'm probably an airline pilot.
Airline pilot?
Like to travel.
Really?
I love traveling because that's all I do. But
What's been your best investment?
let me see this. That right there. That right there.
Great answer. What's a bad piece of advice you've heard people telling others?
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Do as I... Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree.
It's not leadership quality. Like I said,
Right.
a leader shows you how to do it. A leader corrects you when you make a mistake.
Yeah. Lead from the front.
Always.
Yeah.
You got to be the first in the battle. That way your troops will always respect you.
Love that. Well, look, Patrick, Danielle, thank you both so much for taking the time out of your day and being here with us. I really enjoyed the conversation.
No, listen,
We
we
really
appreciate the opportunity, the time, and the questions. I mean, listen, we'd love to talk about ReRoute. So anybody's going to give us a microphone, literally, we're going to do it. So, yeah, no, it's great. I really appreciate you guys.